Hello.
Hi, how is everybody?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can.
I think just you and I have audio right now.
Steve, I see Steve.
I know. And I see him talking, but hear no voice.
I do not see him talking.
It was a minute ago.
Um,
Gonna text him.
can you not hear us? Steve, can you hear us? Hello.
And now he's just gone.
Oh, geez. I feel like I'm washed out. Why am I washed out? Ugh. Oh,
It's because they don't do well with these Zoom calls don't do well with night lighting.
yeah, I don't think so. You guys look great. Like Steve's is really nice and clear, crisp and clear. Me, I'm like washed out.
We still can't hear you, Steve, if you're talking. I can see you yelling at your machine, but I can't hear it.
You know, Zoom has a touch up my appearance filter. I need to be touched up.
Oh yeah. Look at all these fun
Yeah.
things. What's my AI companion?
Oh, there we go. There we go. That's better. I don't know. I think you can have like an AI. Oh,
Steve's
there goes
gone
Steve
again.
again. I think you
Oh,
can
I
have.
see connecting to audio. That's promising. Maybe.
Any better?
Yay!
Hey, welcome to the
All
meeting.
right, good. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I've been trying to install this desktop client for like 20 minutes and it just won't download. Like it just fails over and over and over again. So I'm trying through the browser.
Zoom is a fun product for sure.
Good thing this is our dry run for the rest of the year.
With 17 other people.
Yeah, we're doing it live.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the fun part.
Yeah. It's part of the UX process, right? Fail fast and fail often. We're just getting it all out of the
I
way.
love it. I love it.
All right. I gotta try these settings, these filters. Let's see. Oh, look, I have a hat.
All right, where are you finding those?
In settings in Zoom. Well, I have the desktop client. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I do too. Video
Okay, so
settings?
go to
Oh, video
settings.
filter. I see it.
No, background and effects.
Okay.
Hey there, I have a dog.
I don't have any.
You don't have any
It
background.
says none. How do I
You can't
what?
be a shark then, can you?
That's so disappointing.
Rah, 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 rah. It doesn't move when I open my mouth. Rah, rah. I could be
No,
a
my
cat though.
only
So
option.
welcome.
Sorry, Steve's trying to wrangle
We
control.
welcome everybody. We were going to introduce the board, but I think this is a good enough introduction. This is the more accurate introduction.
Our real selves.
Yeah.
I'm
Awesome.
a
Thank you,
unicorn.
everybody who's just coming in. We'll give a few minutes for other people to join. Again, as you saw, we do not have a speaker for tonight. We do have our first speaker lined up for next month. So this will be a little looser, a little more conversational, but we'll get started in a couple minutes. Just see if anybody else is going to jump on the call. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. We're very excited to get these going again.
Kelly, I like that.
If your real self is a panda, you should be a panda.
Now, I'm hearing a clicking in my headphones. Is that coming through to anybody
That's
else, or is
me.
that just a me problem?
That's clicking. That's me clicking to choose different outfits.
No, it's like a rhythmic. I think it's just something because I'm stuck using the browser. Oh, I like the
I
Zorro mask. There's a good one.
Yeah, the Zoro this I think might be my favorite one here.
I'm so upset I don't have any. Who do I have
You
to
don't
email
have any
at Zoom?
background and effects?
No, it's
You need to update
empty.
your Zoom. What is
I must have to.
I
How are
think
you
you have
getting
to
the
upgrade.
mustache?
Oh, I've got to upgrade. It's been like 3 months since I upgraded, so.
Hi, Kyle.
Hi.
Hey, Kyle.
Hello.
We still good to meet at the bank tomorrow morning? 8:30?
Yes. Yep.
Perfect. I will see you there.
Which bank should we all come?
Yeah, are we robbing it?
We can have a little
gonna say.
ceremony. Pop some
Tara-
champagne in the
Tara's
lobby to
got the-
celebrate getting things off Kyle's plate.
They'll never know.
Oh, it goes funny when you turn sideways. I like that.
All right,
I'm
awesome. We'll just
sad
give
for
one
you.
more minute to see if we have any late joiners.
Yep.
Either. Poor
It's
Emma.
all right. Tara is entertaining us endlessly. Like, just keep going. What else you got in there?
Please.
Some weird, like, I don't know what that is. I'm doing virtual reality though, you guys. Yeah, I'm running out. I'm running out. I could do a Janis Joplin thing.
Oh,
Pretty
that's very
styling.
cool.
I like the glasses over the glasses look.
Yeah. That's how all the kids are wearing them these days. I got Riz.
Kelly is summing up what we're all thinking perfectly. The slow head shake.
All
My
right,
son's,
awesome. Well, we got.
Go
Oh,
ahead, Kelly.
I was
Please.
gonna say my son's in college now, so very often I get, "Mom, you're so basic." Like,
Oh no.
Fine. You should just say, I own it.
I do. I'm like, you know what? It's
there.
okay to be basic every once in a while. I don't need to be extra all the time.
It's true.
Right.
Got to save your extra for key moments.
Mm-hmm.
All right, is the screen share working? Can everybody see my
Yes.
screen here?
Yep.
All right, perfect. And I think I can even do. See how this. There's all kind of fancy new things. Oh, all right. Look at that.
Oh, check that
Thank
out.
you for the board. Look at
That was pretty cool.
I finally got one of those the new Macs, and they've got all kinds of weird, fun features on it. I've been accidentally turning on emojis somehow, like over my face. I'm not sure how I'm doing that.
Hopefully that happens tonight. I'm excited.
Did you hear about that? Did you guys know about the lawyer who was presenting a case in front of a judge and he accidentally there was a cat filter
Yeah.
on,
Couldn't
and he
turn it off.
couldn't figure out how to turn it
Oh
off.
my gosh, I forgot about that. That's too good. All right, awesome. Well, let's go ahead and kick things off. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining tonight. We really appreciate your time. Again, we're very excited to get the NH UXPA up and running again, having just a little informal kickoff before our first speaker next month. But first, we wanted to take some time to introduce ourselves. There's 2 familiar faces on the board and 2 new ones, but it's been quite a while. So we figured we'd take a little time to run through, who we are, what we're going to be doing, and also what our goals are going to be over the course of the year. Again, just as a reminder for anybody, I'm guessing this crew is probably people who have been here before. But again, we are really opening these up for anybody interested in the user experience practice. Membership in the UXPA overall is not required. So for any of these sessions, if you have other people you think would be interested in, hearing about these topics, please feel free to send invites far and wide. We're kind of getting things up and running as well. So we'll have the Eventbrite a little more set up for the next time. So we'll have more tickets available. We'll be able to set up the normal registration and resume that going forward. We're currently working to pull in some sponsorships, be able to get things refunded and kind of hit the ground running again. We haven't gone dark yet, but really just making sure that we're all set up to be able to run these at full capacity going forward for the rest of the year. So without further ado, the board for this year, for 2024, 2 new faces. We have Emily Masterson, who will be serving as our program director, and myself, Stephen Genso, who will be the new event director for this year. And returning, we have Tara Walker resuming her role as the digital operations director, and Cal resuming their role as our social engagement director. So probably the two faces you've seen the most over the years, especially Cal getting everything out on social and getting everything publicized. But you'll certainly be hearing a lot more from the two of us as well. And with that, I'd like to turn it over for everybody to introduce themselves a little bit, starting with Emily. Go right ahead.
I did not realize I was up first, so hopefully I set the standard really well here.
Bam.
So, hi everyone. I am Emily Masterson. To make a very long, curvy career short, I spent the bulk of my career at New Hampshire Institute of Art. For those of you who have been around Manchester for a while, you probably remember that small art college. And there I was developing design programs and a UX program, and really kind of thinking about the student experience, both digital and in person. And that is what kicked off my love of UX. I really like designing experiences that make people go like, oh, that was easy, or like that was nice, or that was pleasant. From there, I went to SNHU. I was there for about 4 years, first in their innovation lab. And then as SNU stood up a product team, I had the opportunity to build out the product design function. And that was the opportunity of a lifetime. It was awesome. But unfortunately, SNU laid us all off in August. And so now I'm at FedPoint, which is in Portsmouth. Again, running the UX team and sticking to what I love. So it's really great to be here. As program director, my role is to really kind of help bring us interesting speakers. So feel free to reach out if you have ideas. We'll go through some ideas later today too, but I want to hear it for sure. And as you can see up here, I also have stood up with a former coworker, a UX consulting firm. So just kind of hitting UX from all angles.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thank you so much. Cal, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name's Cal, and I'm the social engagement director. So what that means is I'm the person that will post to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Slack, and perhaps some new platforms in the future about these events. So I've been working for a UX designer for a few years now. My career started off in graphic design, and then I sort of made that transition over to UX UI, and I've been working at a small consultant type of company for a while now, and I work with Whirlpool, so they own all these brands. And I work on all of these different e-commerce websites, and I really love what I do. So happy to be here.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Cal. Tara?
Oh, my turn. All right. Well, similar to Cal, I'm the digital operations director, as is listed here. And similar to Cal, I started off in print design ages and ages and ages ago, and made the transition into UX. I started off as an interactive designer and was designing and creating emails, and then I started doing experiences. And so I currently am the senior product designer for Liberty Mutual. I am working for Liberty's experimental services division called Solaria Labs, where we try out new technologies and experiments to further the Liberty Mutual brand in a way that is sort of insurance adjacent. So it's been interesting, working with things that are home related, new technologies. We're looking into increasing things like, home monitoring technologies for things like leaks and electrical monitoring and things like that. So it's really exciting. It's interesting. And I've been there for going on 2 years now, but I've been in UX design for about 12 years now. So really enjoying that. And that's where I am.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And finally, for myself, my background has been in UX again for over a decade now. I got my start conducting research back in the day, and ever since grown my skill set across the board, and really over the last 5 years or so, shifted into UX leadership and UX organizational practices. I actually worked with Cal up until last fall. My role was more in helping build out the UX practices for the organizations, working with Whirlpool, as well as Bobcat, Wiley, a couple other names you might recognize. Wiley makes the Dummies books, so you would definitely have heard of those. But since then, since last fall, I have actually struck out on my own. I've started my own consulting firm as well, Storm Dog Design. I'm currently working with the International Association of Privacy Professionals, which is a nonprofit that specializes in certifying typically legal professionals, but really helping people understand the laws around data privacy, navigate Europe's GDPR, things like that. So it's been really exciting for a change working with a nonprofit, especially working with a group that is really doing very relevant and very timely work. Currently expanding out into AI, but really helping them understand what they offer, how things link together. I always have a great time helping build out practices and understand, what the scope of work looks like across an organization and how they can line it up. I'm also a big fan of coaching, mentoring, working with new designers. So hoping to make some more connections through this. And very excited to be the event director. My role here will be emceeing these meetings and hosting and presenting, introducing our speakers as I'm doing tonight, but really also looking to grow out what we're doing and what we're working on together. We would really like to begin to resume in-person meetings coming up over the year, maybe looking to even doing some social events. So again, just like with Emily, if there's any topics, places, things like that you're interested in, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. Very excited to set up some fun activities for all of us, in a way that works for the most people. So we'll look to balance, certainly have the online meetings because they are very flexible, very easy to attend, but would love to get to see some faces in person again. I know it's been quite a while since we've been able to do that. I also want to share we have arranged our first speaker coming up for February. We have Dawn Hall coming to speak with us, who is a product and UX designer working again independently on her own consultancy firm, coming to talk about AI from a UX design perspective. Very excited there. It's certainly a very timely, relevant topic. She's currently working on finishing the final details of her presentation, but very excited to see what comes out there. I know I've seen quite a lot of movement, within Figma with AI generation, AI support plugins, all chat GPT remaining in the news forever. But certainly there are a lot of new tools out there that are really going to change our profession very quickly. And being able to understand them, being able to think about how to interact with them is really going to be powerful us as a community, as we grow our own practices and make ourselves more efficient and grow our own tools and toolkits there. And with that, really, that's just the background we wanted to give. Again, over the coming year, we really want to make sure that we're growing this out. We're really resetting these meetings. We'll be looking to have them monthly, trying to balance. We'll likely do online for the first few months, but start to get into a rhythm of offering some in-person ones every several months. But really, we want to be here for you. We want this organization to resume working for you as professionals. We certainly have a very tight-knit community around here in the Seacoast. Certainly we have a lot of people who have attended not just in New Hampshire. I know I've had people attend on my former team from as far as Ukraine. We've had people across the country, speakers from around the US. So very exciting to get to share our skills, not only with each other, but with the global design community as a whole. So again, in March, we'll be looking to sign up our next speaker pretty quickly. Emily has already been hard at work identifying a couple candidates. We have some people that we're starting to talk to, so we can have a pretty robust schedule set up sooner rather than later. And also in April, I'm excited to share the newest member of our design community will be arriving. I'll be having my first daughter. I thought that was worthy of the calendar. Well, we don't have a speaker planned for that month yet, but certainly I'll be here, I'll be involved, but just thought I'd share that. It's a very exciting time for me and my family.
Is she available to speak
And
in April? I can put her on the calendar.
I might give her another month or two.
All right, so like
She'll
June.
be available to make noise. Yeah, she can make noise in April. I don't know if she can speak yet. I'll be impressed. But with that, we'd really like to transition over again to a little more conversational. We are working on aligning up what the schedule of events looks like over the year. Any topics that are pressing for you. Emily, would you like to share some of the people you've been speaking with? I know you have a couple candidates in mind. I don't know if you've been talking to anybody a little more deeply who might be available within the next couple months.
Yeah, I have. So I've been thinking about what's topical in UX right now. And so Really wanted to start the year with conversations around AI and emerging technology. So Dawn is going to kind of kick that off, but hoping to have a couple speakers hit it from different angles. I also wanted to get into career laddering and career development and building those ladders that help UX designers see where their skill sets grow. And then even, some UI design support. I was thinking, design systems. Let's talk about those and different style guides, but I'm leaving it open on purpose, right? Because I want this to be something that works for everyone. So, if you've got an idea, there's something you're itching to talk about or want to learn more about, what is it?
And we'll open the floor if anybody'd like to share, if you've got a topic you'd like to request now. There's no pressure. It's a pretty small group.
Well, I'll just say I'm just super excited to see the group coming back to life, and I'm excited to see what you guys do with it. And I'll definitely attend as many meetings as possible.
Wonderful. Thank you so
Awesome.
much, Kyle. And yeah, special thank you to Kyle for all the support you've done helping us transition into this and get this running again.
Yeah, absolutely. And a side note, you guys mentioned April. I'm going to be attending a conference in April, the Information Architecture Conference, or IAC. I wasn't sure, is anyone else attending or interested? I'll put a link in the chat if anybody wants to check it out. It's my favorite conference, so I always go to it.
Oh yeah,
Is it
share the
online,
info.
Kyle, or is it like an in-person type thing?
This is going to be in person in Seattle, April 9th to the 13th.
Exciting.
Yeah,
Wow.
they went in person again last year. It worked out pretty well. Last year, masks were required. I do not believe they're continuing that this year, but I don't even see a COVID policy, honestly, on their website. So yeah, this will be the first time that I guess it'll be the way they used to run it. So it should be interesting to see. That's probably the only event I've been
Very
to.
exciting.
Yeah, since
Yeah.
the pandemic.
Yeah, if we're talking conferences, I'm going to UXPA International in June. If anyone else is
Ooh.
going, would love to hear about that. I actually got accepted to speak this year, so I will be speaking
Wow.
on career laddering. So
Yes.
I might ask you all to be my test audience when I get that presentation
Oh.
together.
Oh, that's
We'd be
awesome.
delighted
Yeah.
to. Very
Where's
exciting.
that held, Emily?
That is in Fort Lauderdale, but at the end of June. So while Fort Lauderdale sounds great right now, at the end of June, it's going to be like 120 and 80% humidity. So
They should have had it like now.
well, we asked about that last year, because last year it was in Austin, Texas during the heat wave, like when they were like, don't go outside,
Ooh.
whatever you do. And they book them in hot climates in the summer because it's cheaper.
I was just gonna say the rates would be better.
It's cheaper. So we all have to suffer through it.
My
Well,
work
you'll be
used-
indoors.
Funny.
It's
My
true.
work used to hold a conference in every March, and they always did it in a warm environment. And one year it was in San Antonio, Texas, and they had a cold snap the week that we were there. So all of our outdoor events had to get moved inside, and it was like 30 degrees. It was the same temperature in Austin or in San
Oh my
Antonio
gosh.
as it was in New Hampshire. It was such a bummer.
That's wild.
So I don't know. I probably support you remotely, Emily.
I mean, that's
Don't
fair,
go
but if you
on.
can come. Oh, and Kyle, you just mentioned UXPA Boston. Yes, that's another so since this is a small group, one of our strategies is to try to get in good with UXPA Boston so we can share some of their fun resources.
Yeah.
We're working on it. They just changed presidents though this month, so we need to chum up to the new president.
It could be like
Yeah,
UX
Kyle,
Boston
I need to
North.
resubmit
Yeah. Why not like
or
Kinda like
UXPA
Manchester
New
Airport.
England?
New
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
They
love
can
that.
take the city and we'll cover the surrounding areas.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, they extended the conference deadline. They switched over the software they were using. It sounds like they had a lot of issues. I need to resubmit mine tomorrow, but I'm hoping to submit a talk for the Boston conference on design tokens, similar to one I'd given. That was the death knell for the regular meetings. I didn't think it was that bad, so I've been retooling it.
No, it was good. It
You
was
get a lot
good.
of credit
I-
here, Steve,
yeah.
honestly.
I enjoyed that, Steve.
Kelly, I like your suggestion. One topic that comes to mind that would be great for my team would be guerrilla research tactics, ways we can do research without too much budget or red tape. That's a really good one.
Wrote it down. I like that one.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You know, that's a situation that's so common, especially partnering with larger organizations. Not only do we not always have the budget or the red tape, but especially the red tape, rather, even besides the budget, where we may not have access to our customers all the time. And what can we do with what we do have access to? That's a great topic.
I might actually be able to speak on that because I was working for a company that was construction software for a while, and only certain people could use construction software. It would be the construction workers, right? So, you know, oftentimes we would have a budget to get the research, but I don't think the construction industry really knew that. They didn't know that you get paid for this sort of thing. So we would just call them and ask and talk.
That's what we do most often, especially with our working at a bank. We've got different divisions. The commercial division, very often we'll just get the name of customers and get their reps approval to reach out to them and interview them or put them through some stuff. But I have a growing team that doesn't like we're not all at the same level, and I think maybe some of the younger people would feel more comfortable if they found out if this is common practice and there are ways that we can do it.
I was going to say this one sounds like it might be like a round table, like everyone
could
bring
be.
the most creative way you've
Yeah.
done research.
I have stood in downtown Portsmouth, like at the church, and hold a clipboard and said, "Hey, do you meet any of these criteria? Can we chat?" That was
Wow.
and I gave him a water. Gave
That's
him
great.
a nice metal water bottle afterwards if they.
Nice. One of the designers
Awesome.
I worked with at SNU would go to the student center and just like pull up a chair to a table full of students.
Oh, I've done
You're
that
like, what do you
before.
think about this?
Mm.
Yeah, back when I worked at agencies, one of our customers was Abilene Christian University, and I just went down for a week and chatted with students and showed them
Yep.
stuff.
People are surprisingly willing to just give
Awesome.
you feedback if you ask, you know?
Wow, you extroverts are wild.
I am not an extrovert.
She
Not
just
an
plays one on
extrovert?
TV.
I don't know that I could have, I'd probably have a panic attack.
I made Zach do it with me when we were downtown Portsmouth, and he's like, "I am never doing this again."
It's like the cold calling version of UX. Like,
Yep.
wow.
And actually, so you guys mentioned already, but like, it's okay if we start including people not in New Hampshire. Like,
Yeah, bring all the
invite
friends.
my team in Raleigh.
All the friends.
Yeah. Yeah, not only not in New Hampshire, but don't even have to be UX professionals or members of the UXPA or anything.
The requirement
Always
is
happy to share.
a general interest in UX. That's it. That's the only requirement.
Well,
Good. I'm from Massachusetts, and I was going to ask if I was allowed to be here.
Of course.
Oh, sure.
In fact,
I'm
bring
on,
all
I'm on
your
the
friends.
border. I'm on the border.
Let's take back Northern
we have-
Mass from Boston.
There's a pretty good design community in Newburyport, you know, and I think it's sometimes maybe the name New Hampshire UX Professional Association may feel like it's a little limiting, but really, you know, New Hampshire, Maine, you know, Northern Massachusetts, especially, we're all physically pretty closely located. But certainly, you know, we're looking to have virtual events that are open to everybody, of course.
We even
I
had a former board member, Kat Leverdour, that she worked in Nashua, but she lived in Western Mass, it turned out. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Bob Thomas was a president. He was living where was it? In
Haverhill.
Mass?
It was in Haverhill.
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
So,
remember Bob. It's been a while since I've heard that name.
Well, now with so many companies being remote too, we're gonna have a lot of the opposite, designers living in New Hampshire but like working for a company in Texas. So
Mhm.
it doesn't make
Yeah.
sense to make hard boundaries at state lines.
Absolutely.
I think
Yeah.
AAA likes to categorize its area as AAA of Northern New England. We might be able to borrow something like that, you know, like even though we're
Oh, yeah.
like Northern New England. So that would allow us to sort of incorporate some of Southern Maine and maybe Vermont.
I like Kelly's suggestion, NOB for north of Boston, though you could add an extra O for north, so it could actually be noob.
I
North
like
of other
noob better than
Boston.
knob.
Yeah.
North of Knob, yeah.
There used to be a film festival called Knob that was north of Boston.
Oh,
That's
are they
great.
still a film festival, or can we poach the name?
I don't think it's happened for a number of years. It was in Concord.
And it's an acronym, so it's free reign. So
All right, fair. That's good.
One other topic. This isn't really a topic. I just noticed. Okay. I posted on LinkedIn about an internship we have at my company, and I got over 200 responses.
Oh,
Wow.
So, and some of these people are like already graduated and having trouble finding a job. I don't know what we can do to help. I mean, right now there's a shortage of UX jobs. That's really what it is. But like, maybe there's something we could do to help boost people's skills or portfolios. Have maybe a project that's a real project, not a class assignment, that we could do over a weekend, or pair people up with volunteer opportunities or something. I even know Ian, my husband, one of his interns from last year is having to volunteer this year to keep their visa up and running when they can't find a job. So this is a tough climate right now, and I don't know, maybe there's something we could do.
Yeah, I just wrote down also like a case study writing workshop where we all come together and like do it live, right? Because you always have good intentions to write the case study, but then you never actually do it. And until you find yourself laid off and looking for a job and panicking. Yep. Yeah, the job market's so bad right now. It's so bad.
Especially when all your design files are on the company's cloud. It's pretty tough to pick back up and
right.
Yes.
I was just speaking with another design leader. She was talking about how her spidey sense was tingling. She's like, we're gonna get laid off. I can feel it in the air. It's coming. What do I do? To back up everything and then get your designers' personal email addresses, so when you all get laid off, you can give them back their resources, because it's scary.
When
it is, it's a very tough spot right now, you know, for a lot of tech fields.
I don't understand it. I mean, I said so in chat. Like, I don't get it. You know, the economy is not that bad. So, like, why are they doing this? You know,
well, I mean, when companies like Facebook and Google and they all start laying off their designers, the mid-sized companies, they're like, what aren't we seeing? What trend is coming for us? And they start tightening their belts. And it just kind of like trickles down through the different tiers of companies. And it's awful, because then everyone's laid off at once and no one can find a new job.
Well, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Because the more people you lay off, the less people can afford to buy, the less people can afford to buy, the more people companies need to lay off because they can't afford you know, they got to keep up their profit margins, right? So it doesn't make any sense to me. Like
when I was looking this past fall, I was a finalist for a position in Boston. And when HR called me to tell me I didn't get it, she's like, we don't have any feedback for you. You were exceptional. You were everything we wanted. It's just that we could get somebody with 10 more years experience for the same price. So we did. And I was like, yeah, that's awful.
Wow. That is awful. Because that person they hired deserves more.
Right. And now we're all gonna, because everyone's settling. Now in 2 years, we're gonna see it happen again when everyone starts playing leapfrog to get to the position they should be in.
Yeah.
It's a mess out there.
Well, isn't that what just happened? It just happened
Mhm.
after the pandemic. It was like everybody did this like massive leapfrog. It was a
Yeah.
workers market for a while, and now it's like we're doing the little cycle again, which is crazy.
Well, this is discouraging because I just got,
Oh no.
I'm just transitioning into this field. I took, I did a 9-month boot camp while I
Mhm.
was still working. I
Mhm.
come from a graphic design background.
Well,
Mhm.
one thing
they-
I can tell you is that I'm seeing the higher up you're looking, the harder it is. I am seeing a lot of kind of entry and mid-level UX positions. It's the
I
design
see.
leadership roles that are gone, just
I
disappeared.
see.
Yep, I haven't seen very many senior roles. They're hard to find too, but I
I'm
have
seeing
seen.
mostly senior.
Are
Like
you?
I'm
Okay.
having a hard time finding like 1 to
Mhm.
3 years, because I
Mhm.
figure I can apply for those since I have experience working and
Oh,
doing
absolutely.
strategic design kind of thing. But I did, speaking of the UXPA Boston, I went to one event and it was, they had a panel of recruiters up there to give us advice. And there were like 100 people there and 95 of them were students. And there were 5 of us
Wow.
that were like my age, I'm 50 and we're transitioning into this field. And, I didn't know what to think of that, but like there's a lot of competition for for starting out. Although I have that like decades of actual work
I was gonna say
experience over
you're
the
starting
student.
out, but also
Mm.
not.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a
Mhm.
weird
Right.
Mhm.
place, but I kind of like that this is way smaller and intimate. That was humongous, but
Well, Victoria, I don't know if it helps you feel any better, but I do know like Liberty Mutual recently laid off a bunch of developers, which to me seems colossally idiotic. Just because developers are always going to be in demand. They're going to be difficult to hire back when Liberty finally gets, decides to start hiring again. I mean, it's not going to be easy. And the thing is that, I feel like UX is in a very similar situation. It's always going to be needed. It's not the kind of thing that AI can really do. And we work part and parcel with those developers. So, it's going to come back
Mhm.
around. It's just a question of how soon do employers realize, oh, this isn't helping us. We're not getting as much
Turns
done.
out we needed that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're
yeah.
going to go for experience, with, just industry experience. So I think you're going to be in a better position if you can just get through this.
Well,
I think
my strategy is to apply for hybrid positions because the pool of
Yeah.
applicants is much
That
smaller.
was my strategy, and I got a job within 2 months. So my N of 1 says that's a solid strategy.
Yeah, because remote jobs, I'll look at it and it'll say
Right, you're up
900
against
applications.
1,000 people.
Yeah.
Although,
Yeah.
did you know those LinkedIn numbers? It registers you as an applicant if you just open the job listing.
Oh.
They're not actually getting that many applications. I mean,
Okay.
it's still in the hundreds, but it's not in the thousands.
Oh, it registers you as an applicant opening the
Yeah.
the job
Yeah.
post.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like opening, and I think you have to like scroll into it or click the apply, like the link out, or you have to take some kind of action, but then it's like, oh, that's an applicant, even though you haven't applied.
Emily, that makes so much sense
Gotcha.
because of course LinkedIn doesn't have any kind of data for whatever
Right, they can't-
ATS the company is using. They can't possibly tell
Right.
if you've completed an application or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Unless
are
you literally
Yeah.
click, it'll
It's
say,
like,
"Did you
aha,
apply?"
yeah.
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 You
Yep.
click the job description to go find out more details. And it's like, oh, well, they must have applied.
Right.
Right.
I will say what's frustrating is I won't hear from jobs. They'll still be posted, and I'll go to the company's website under their careers, and there's no job. So I'm like,
That's a cattle call.
there's
That's a
no
cattle-
job there. That's a what?
That's a cattle call, is what that is. So basically what they're doing is they're planning to hire at some point in the distant future, and they're gathering resumes. They don't plan to hire in the immediate future. So they're just sort of gathering their pool of applicants so that they can reach out to people when they do decide they want to hire. It's the equivalent of they call it a cattle call because that's what they call when you're an actor and you go to do an audition. Like they just get a list of photographs of people's faces so that they know who to look through later on. You know, you don't actually get a job right away. So that's what that is. I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it takes so much time to call through everybody and to sort them into good, better, best, or not even applicable. And then they then have that as a resource that they can look to. So
Mhm. I've had people.
Yeah, I
I've
think
been
I
to cattle
received a
call.
rejection notice 2 weeks ago from a job I applied to back in October,
Yeah.
which I had forgotten about. But I was like, at least I heard back, I guess.
yeah. Yeah.
That's better
call
than the
somebody-
inverse. I've gotten a rejection letter as soon as 90 minutes after I applied.
Oh, geez.
Oh my God.
That's like, you didn't even look. I know you didn't.
Now they said they had a system analyze it.
Right.
It was
It
automatic.
didn't pass the AI test. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I've actually gotten a call for a job like 3 or 4 months after I applied, and they're like, "So are you still looking?" And I was like, "No." This was a good while ago, but it was just like, what? No, looking.
You know,
I
Victoria,
will
what
say
you
the
oh,
hybrid position, the sample size, it's two. I found a lot more success for myself, not only looking for opportunities more locally or within reasonable commute, but also considering opportunities as not a full-time employee, but as a contractor or consultant. For myself, really, I was able to, while I was applying for full-time jobs, start making some connections with staffing groups in the area just to they hear about things that I might not necessarily find, and just use that to try and build a network. And so I'm not the only person recruiting for myself, I'm not the only person vouching for myself. Of course the downside is there, of course you do have employment through the staffing company, but at least it gets you introductions, it can get you some clients, things like that. For myself, I was in a particularly difficult position where I was laid off in September and I had the baby due in April. So I did not
Oh.
have the desire to start a full-time job right away and have no time off for the newborn. So for me, especially, that wound up being a great route where I'm working on a contract through March, is at least enough time to keep things moving, keep my skills sharp. And give myself a little more time to figure out what comes next, but also for me, the flexibility to take some more time off in April and May. So it's certainly something where it can be a bit scary. I had been working, actually, I worked with Cal for, what did we work together, like 3 or 4 years or so, before I was laid off. And that was mostly just there was like a new board of directors came in, and it was kind of restructuring at the top. I'm thankful nobody else on my team lost their job, but really, it's about selling yourself at that point and selling your services. And so Victoria, for someone like you who has a deeper career background and deeper expertise, could be a way to set yourself apart, where you have these very specific skills and these more unique viewpoints that you get only with experience and exposure to business practices, versus somebody coming directly out of college where they may have a really great technical grasp, but they don't have that experience and confidence to really navigate in a corporate environment. And that just comes with time.
I'm trying. I've updated my resume about 1,000 times. And I do have a career coach through the online school. And he put it
Great.
through some system, because there's the other thing I didn't realize. For years I was applying with PDFs and didn't realize that tracking system works better with Word documents, or I don't know if you've heard that, but so then now I'm just sending Word document files, but and I've heard back from 2 places that asked me if I knew the job was hybrid. I'm like, yes, that's what I'm live really close. That's why I'm applying. And then I never heard back, and I'll like email them like once a week. They like, I can come in for an interview, whatever. But I touch base with them, and I still don't hear anything. But the jobs are still up there. So I don't know if they're just waiting for more people. I don't know.
It's so rude and wrong the way you get nothing. You submit into a black hole and hear nothing and you don't know. And the fact that even if you have
Yeah.
an interview and then you don't continue on, you never get feedback as to why. It's just, it needs to change. For UX jobs, this is not user-centered at all, practice or behavior.
Right.
It's so horrific. But Victoria, what you were saying earlier about seeing, not seeing a lot of jobs that were for people transitioning into the industry or new. Zoe and I were talking about this actually yesterday. I personally feel that this is an issue that our industry that we created. We have never, for whatever reason, unlike any other field, we don't have an apprenticeship model. It's like you hardly see any junior level or internships or anything. You see a little bit more now than you did 10 years ago, but not much. So people are applying to jobs like everybody wants 3 to 5 years experience. That's what they want. So they kind of have to like fake it till you make it. They have to hustle, and it's BS because like if we want people in this industry, we want to, get them experience and grow this community. We have to have some kind of apprenticeship model
Mhm.
and let it be okay to have juniors,
Yeah. It's like companies don't
Absolutely.
value the tenure anymore.
Mm.
So they just
No.
take it for granted that we're going to lose this person in 5-8 years max. And so we're not going to invest in the human resource pool and in the team as a core unit. We're not going to take that investment in personal people. It's just you're a face, you're a position, you're a role. And when we don't need you, we'll let you go. And when you don't need us, you'll let us go. And that's just the way it is. It's business, it's not personal. And so the casualty of that, I think, is the internship, where people or companies would take that approach because it was part of a future investment in the internal organization.
Well, what shocked me to learn was I've looked at hundreds of other people's like LinkedIn resumes, and the short time people spend at jobs is amazing to me. Most of these, resumes have like a year and a half here and a year and a half there and a year and a half there, and I'm old school, so back in the like that looked bad, and now it's a thing. People are job hopping or getting laid off, but like they make it, people I talk to, are job hopping, and I'm assuming it's to, get a better, salary. That's what I have done in the past. When I need to make more, I end up having to leave and go somewhere else. But it was shocking to me how, little people are spending it at companies now, little time. I don't know if you've found that or seen that, but I was like, wow, that's new.
Well, it's a direct reflection, I think, of the company's lack of investment in the personal unit. As I was saying, it's like at that point, they just don't care. It's not the same anymore.
I wonder if it would be interesting to do a topic on how to help existing design teams utilize junior people and utilize, interns in a way that,
Yeah.
maybe even make the business case for why bringing some in, they do require a little bit more work than your experienced person because they need more guidance. But there could be ways that we can leverage this, especially in context of the economy. I mean, if employers are laying people off, they might be interested in, we might be able to interest them in bringing in some junior people because they are, paid less. And you maybe start that pool going, and use this layoff time as maybe a time to get some experience under the belt for people who are junior.
I hired a very like fresh out of boot camp junior designer at SNHU, and that was one of the best decisions I ever made because she came in and she asked questions about things that I have been taking for granted forever. She's like, "Why do you do it that way?" It's like, "Oh, I don't know. That's a great question. Let's unpack that. Let's figure it out." I think there's a lot of value to it for sure. And I wrote down like topics, job market, transitioning into UX, interns, junior designers. I agree. I think we should expand on this.
Mhm.
We get a lot of interns actually for the development team at Liberty Mutual. I don't know why we've never done it for UI, UX.
Well, and
one of the problems with this area is there aren't really colleges that teach UI UX in this area.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Bentley University, it's just down the street. Northeastern does.
yeah, Northeastern is a
I
program.
believe the Rue Institute in Portland also has an outside of education or outside of the degree program.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
I
yeah,
in
the Nurse Institute
particular-
is Northeastern as well.
So say I in particular would love to have a topic, maybe over the next couple of months of what to do with the intern when you have them, since I'm going to have one this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem. I added that down on career laddering. So not
What
only
to
helping
do with
ourselves,
the
but how do we help
intern.
each other
Yeah.
climb.
I like that topic.
Can I
Yeah.
can
You know,
I ask?
Alice-
Because
Yeah,
So
go.
I
Yeah, please.
sorry, I'm very similar to Victoria. I come from a business graphic design background, and in all transparency, like I'm sort of like putting my feelers out for like, is this something that I want to do? Right? Like, should I get a degree? Should I go to a boot camp? I don't know. But Kyle is very kind enough to tell me about this meeting. I've seen this in two other industries that I've worked in, primarily graphic design and real estate. And I'm wondering if it's a thing that you guys experience here. What I've seen is the skills that are needed to become a successful graphic designer, art director, the skills that are needed to become a really successful real estate agent are actually sometimes antithetical to the skills that are needed to be a good manager, to be a good boss, right? They're not the same skills. They're those individual contributor skills, and people get to a certain level in their career and they say, okay, I need an assistant and I need a team, and they have no experience and no education in how to actually in team building and team management, which are totally different skills. Is that something that's similar in UX? This is again coming from somebody who
I don't think UX is I don't think UX is insulated from that, but I think it's on a case per case basis, right? So, for instance, Kelly's got a lot of experience, and I don't know particularly what her experience is as being a leader, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that she's got good experience at being a leader and that she's going to be able to help formulate a team. But that also doesn't apply to other people that could have the same amount of experience as Callie does, for instance, and they might not be good team builders and leaders. They're great at what they do in their craft, but like you said, that doesn't necessarily make you a good manager or a team lead.
I
And
think
there's just another whole skill set for it.
the hardest part of managing and thinking about junior designers and bringing them in from a management standpoint is understanding that they're not full employees. They're not fully aware of everything that needs to happen to become a good and experienced UX designer. And because that does require additional thought and additional work, you also have to think in terms of, they're here to learn, they're here to be educated. And I think especially if you go through a company a university like Northeastern, to Northeastern, it's an extension of that student's learning. And if they're working under a not effective manager, someone who doesn't really understand the purpose of the intern being there or know how to manage the team in a way that makes sense for the intern, I think that can be a real issue. And like Roger said, I don't think UX is insulated from that at all. I think there's a lot of confusion from UX management about the purpose of different employees and how that works out. That's just a thought.
I'd even say that it's been even more difficult for teams to take on an internship type role because a lot of us have been spread thin. And so as a result, you're under pressure, you're under the gun to get stuff done. The last thing you need right now is to like take on somebody that needs a ton of attention and hand holding that isn't really going to be contributing a lot to the output that you're accountable for. And so that's kind of the rub, right? You want to help, you want to contribute and support people that want to get into the industry, but you're also under a lot of constraints and your hands are tied to a certain degree. So there is this balancing act of trying to determine activities that are, number one, educational for that individual because this is a learning experience for them. And secondly, that those do benefit the group in a holistic view, maybe not in a real specific thing. So to that person, they're learning some core skills and they're supporting, a junior or a mid-level designer with some help that they need. But you don't want to just dump it in their lap and say, hey, here's an intern to help you. And that person's like, yeah, I got to get this done by Friday. I don't have time to teach this person what to do. You end up end up fragmenting your team morale at that point instead of making it stronger.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a really key point, Roger. And I found, at my previous organization, I grew from just myself to, at the end of it, a team of 22 designers under me. And that was often the biggest challenge was I'm balancing multiple clients and multiple projects. And not only am I supporting the lead designers and managing their client expectations there, but I also took on a lot of the direct mentoring of our new designers because nobody else really had the time. People are trying to get somebody up to speed just to learn a client, let alone teach them basic design skills or anything like that. And even for myself, is often I can't dedicate as much time as I really needed to, which is not fair only for yourself as somebody who's in that position to be that mentor, but it's not fair to the designer as well, who needs that coaching, needs that support, and expects that level of support for their own development. So it's certainly something where I think we're pretty lucky in terms of the overall skill set, where UX is about making connections, understanding root causes, really trying to build forward a good solution. So the skills for leading a design team pair pretty well with the skills as an individual contributor. Going back now to myself being an individual contributor, certainly I was a bit rusty at Figma, and I'm a little bit out of date in terms of the really modern trends for UI design. But it wasn't like I had a big gulf in my skill set. It was more I needed to kind of knock the rust off and brush up on a few things. So I think we're certainly lucky there in terms of the general skills needed to succeed in this field, is you should be able to apply them to individual contribution just as well as leadership or management, if you choose to move into those roles as they become available to you.
well, I think it would make a
And
good
yeah, Kelly, I see that book, The Peter Principle. I've heard that one a lot. That's a funny one. I like that. Sorry, Tara, go ahead.
That's okay. I think it would make a great topic if we can find somebody maybe who's effectively managed that dichotomy. That would be really interesting. I personally haven't done it, so I wouldn't be a good resource, but I'm sure there's somebody out there who can really, maybe Kelly. Kelly, maybe you can
my approach so far has been I take one of the senior designers on my team who has been thinking about transitioning to management, and I make them the lead mentor and have them come up with the program, so that way I'm stepping back.
I like that.
delegation. I love it.
It's
Yeah.
their trial to say, do I really want to manage people?
Yeah.
Go
Gotta
from there.
delegate.
Nice. I don't think that's a whole talk though, Kelly.
I know, that's the problem.
It could be
Can you
more of a
stretch
therapy
that?
session if you bring one of the senior designers in that wanted to make that transition.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
we go. That sounds like another good topic for a round table as well as like I love the ideas of, again, more social events, like the case study workshop was great, sharing projects, volunteer opportunities, how we can, again, career laddering not only for ourselves, but for our community as a whole. I know we're coming up with about 5 minutes left here. Some of the other topics we had written down, I love that one, the guerrilla research tactics. How can we work without much budget or with that red tape in the way? I think that's another great one that came out. And certainly some of the topics Emily had mentioned, really the categories we're looking at around not only the career laddering, but also technology and design. Again, kicking that off with the AI and UX coming up next month. And then UI design as well. If we can have people come in to share the experiences they've had building out specific things. Certainly, I'm a big fan of the design systems. I've been untangling a rat's nest currently, finally tracking down a couple good answers, and I've had to go all the way down to the root Pantone reference guide just to get some straight answers for that one. But any last topics anybody wanted to request, or any last specific speakers, even if there's somebody you've heard previously that you wanted to throw out there?
I'm going to put something out there that NH UXPA has always been a funnel for people that are interested in exploring or getting into the field, like Zoe, for instance, right? So this is something you're interested in, and you connected with Kyle, and here you are tonight, and thank you for coming, and I hope it's been good. And so we've always tried to sort of support that with topics that are geared towards introductory level type stuff, and we don't get too deep into the minutia for real specific topics. So one thing that I was thinking of is that, like over the last, 8-10 years, there has just been a plethora of boot camps and certificate programs that have been brought up by this university, that organization, this independent place, whatever it is. So there are a lot more options out there now for people that want to get into it than there were when I transitioned over from product management. And I think that it would be a good meeting and a subject to have people that have had experience with different programs share their experience with the group about what that program was like, what they went into it looking to get. Was that realized for them? What were the strengths and weaknesses of that program, in their own experience? And this isn't to like bash any particular program. It's really just sort of like, everybody's experience with that. And sharing that with others that, like for instance, again, Zoe, to hear what somebody said about, General Assembly or, Bentley's UX Cert program or whatever it is, can help them make a more informed decision as to A, do they want to pursue this further? B, what aligns with their specific goals and needs and constraints financially, time-wise, whatever it might be. And, again, sort of just help usher people through the process with a little bit more information.
Awesome. Yeah, appreciate that. And I think that seems like a pretty big topic. It was a wonderful conversation with everybody tonight. I love the chance to get these more informal discussions. Certainly one of the things I'm looking to drive from trying to host an in-person social event or two is just the chance to have these kinds of supporting each other, sharing our stories, sharing our experiences, and that career laddering as a bucket sounds like that's going to be a big one this year, especially with just how difficult it is in the market. And certainly a lot of factors impacting that. One thing we haven't even discussed too is just interest rates have gone up. It's harder for businesses to get the money to fund their design programs. Oftentimes we see is design and testing are kind of the things that they're the last ones in the door and the first ones out when people are really just focused on creating a product and building it, and they don't think about all the impacts and all the savings, the efficiencies. Building something that's desirable for users is very difficult to do without those very key components, but often overlooked, especially for organizations that don't have a very mature practice or a lot of experience working in that kind of manner. So I think that's absolutely something we should be looking to prioritize as much as we can this year is how do we help each other, get started? How do you continue on? What do you do when you get laid off? A lot of great ideas around that. And with that, I think we're just about at time. So everybody, thank you again so much for joining. We are over the moon to get these going again. Looking forward to setting up the next talk in February. We'll be sending out the formal invites for that shortly, and getting the schedule is going as quickly as we can for the rest of the year.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, thanks everybody.
Great to meet all you
Yeah,
guys.
really appreciate your time. So wonderful to meet you, those of you who are new here.
Yeah,
I'll
excited.
try to connect. I'll try to find you guys on LinkedIn.
Sounds good.
Yes, please do. A couple of us posting them in the chat there. Feel free to add us. Actually, oh, Tara, could you update my LinkedIn on the UXPA website? I just realized I can set a custom URL, and I did that today.
Sure,
I'll
I'll be
send
happy
you my
to do
link.
that.
I don't think the old one is broken yet, but thank you very much.
All right, have a great
All
night,
right,
everyone.
take care,
Have a
everyone.
great night,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.